online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound, the Wycombe Wanderers Show.
Welcome along to the latest edition of the Wycombe Wanderers Show with myself, Colin, and Bob, looking back at what's been an eventful week, I suppose you'd call it.
Indeed. Still really getting over Saturday. 2-0 down, going into half-time, and then all of a sudden we get one back and we end up winning 3-2. And then, of course, we had Tuesday night.
Because you were quite despondent, as many fans were, I'm sure, at the 2-0 down bit.
Yes, I was. And I'm not normally that despondent, but yes, I was. I did tweet a bit of a, that's sort of its type tweet. But as has happened throughout this season, as soon as I say something, then completely the opposite thing then happens. So actually, maybe I should do a few more despondent tweets.
Please do. It was a fantastic feeling to get the win on Saturday, and it came on the back of a statement, 2 season ticket holders, from the chairman and owner Rob Couhig, which we'll be hearing from him speaking on Phil's Ringing the Blues podcast as well. That'll be later on this hour.
And I think we have to as well think that actually Tuesday night we played really well. It was absolutely sickening to lose right at the very, very end as we did. But even so, it was a really, really good performance. We will tonight, of course, be hearing from Gareth Ainsworth, both his thoughts after the Huddersfield game and also after the Derby County game. And we'll also hear from Uche as well.
And in our series of chatting to former players, goal-scoring hero Mark West joins us as well. Very much looking forward to chatting to him. Tom's with us as well, who you might have heard recently chatting to David Wheeler in a mental health special. Hello, sir. Oh. He's gone.
That bit didn't go well then.
Oh, he was there seconds ago. His mobile phone signal wasn't great, so we'll attempt to get him back shortly.
I didn't realise that he did the sort of like sound effect noises, but they were quite impressive.
We'll try and retrieve him shortly, but let's reflect on the win at Huddersfield, which was I think I can't remember whether I was just saying this or not, but I felt that a win was definitely coming, and Huddersfield felt like it could be the one.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't sure, to be honest. Sort of the way that everything had gone since the Preston game, I was beginning to think, oh goodness me, we keep now being upbeat before every game, and then actually, nothing's really happening. The fact that we lost Sheffield Wednesday, the Birmingham ball draw, so I wasn't really feeling it, to be honest. And when Huddersfield went ahead in the way that they did, where basically the entire defence stopped claiming offside, and the Huddersfield player sort of headed the easiest goal in the world past Ryan Alsop, it was very much oh goodness me, just even the manner of the goal just felt slightly depressing, and I'm sure the players probably thought that a little bit as well. Then to go 2-0 down, but the way that they came back was absolutely spectacular. Starting off with Anis scoring a super goal, and then the second half was just a dream, and it looked just a completely different side. We were unrecognisable in the second half compared to the first. It was a really, really good, solid performance. And once again, and I know we've said this a lot, but we just looked like, a team who absolutely 100% deserves to be competing in the Championship.
It was such a positive feeling as well. As you say, not only the result, but the manner of the victory to come back from 2-0 down as well.
Yeah, I mean, because, that must have been so hard, just sort of mentally to think, goodness me, we've struggled to come, we haven't really come back from 1-0 down, or we did in the Birmingham away game, but, we've struggled whenever we've gone behind. To have gone behind by 2 goals in a game that, yes, Huddersfield aren't doing that well, and we possibly thought we would have done all right about it. We'd had the message from Rob Couhig, everything was, sort of like poised to, this was going to be a pivotal game, and to suddenly discover that we were 2-0 down, after 40 odd minutes, must have been really, really tough to actually come back from that. And the fact that we did, and in the manner that we did, was absolutely fantastic.
Great to get the thoughts of manager Gareth Ainsworth, who spoke to Matt for the club's website, accompanied by a lawnmower.
It's hard to know what to say on Tuesday after such a disappointing night in Sheffield. 2-0 down again today, we're thinking, here we go again. But what character and what response from you boys? You must be so proud.
Yeah, I know a lot of people would have been thinking, here we go again, but not me. I know what I've got, and I've said game by game, this is how we're going to do it. I asked for fight today. I thought we lacked a little bit of fight, especially when we went 2-0 down at Sheffield, and then a couple of goals against Forest going against you. A little bit of fight, and listen, I'm not having a go at anyone. It's normal, it's natural where you are in the league. We're in this league. We've deserved to be in this league, and I want to stay in this league, and I've asked for fight. Whatever happens, we're going to come out swinging in every single game, and that's the Wycombe way. That's what it has, and we just maybe lost that a little bit lately. And yeah, I'll take full responsibility for that. But today, I thought we were awesome. I thought we really were. 2 goals are again avoidable. The one on the second one, especially higher up, we can stop that. But you know, let's not get this wrong. We could have scored 4 or 5 today. The boys really played well. Second half especially, I thought they were so brave. Really took the game to Huddersfield, stopped their absolute possession style. Really stopped it, because they're good at what they do. You know, they're good players. Hogg and Kuna and and Benzi, some big names. But then the likes of Mehmeti and Wheeler and Knight, in that midfield, they stopped the way they played. The fullbacks were really brave, got really high, left Tafazoli and Stewart in the 2-on-2 sometimes, but very capable 2-on-2. It's really proud of the boys. I thought we put the game plan in place very well, especially second half. The goal just before half time is huge. Anis, what a player, what a player he's going to be. Graduate from the B team in a microwave, really, rather than a slow cooker, because he's right in it now. He's in the thick of things, and he won't get a tougher challenge than this. But he's handling it, and he's becoming something special. So I'm really proud of him. That goal really gave us belief at half time, and I'm sure it did everyone at home. And then Darrell's had a great header, Andy Stewart's one off the line, hit the bar first off, one off the line first off. That's a true Wycombe performance going forward. Proud of him, and it's 4 hours home, so I can have a bit of a smile this time.
There's nothing to fear now as they're going into a big game on Tuesday against Derby County. Such confidence to carry from today's game into that one?
Nothing to fear at all. I spoke to Rob midweek, and he's of the same opinion of me. We want to be in this championship. We deserve to be in this championship. Too often we say about Wycombe first and isn't this great and all that. Let's try and drop that for now and go, right, let's stay in here. Let's stay in this championship. Listen, we're 10 points adrift. I'm not stupid. I know that's a tough ask. But we've got 18 games left. I know that's a lot of points to play for as well. So it's doable. It really is doable. And I have to credit Alex Samuel before the game in the dressing room. He said to the boys, write this story, boys. Let's write this story, because nobody will believe it. Nobody believed the stories last year or the year before, but let's write a new story. We can do this, and I'm really looking forward to seeing that week in, week out, that mentality, that focus and aggressive way of playing. Loved it. It's been tough, and it's my job, and football management stuff, but you get moments like these that make it all worthwhile. So thanks for everyone's support, really appreciate it, and hopefully we can crack on with another win on Tuesday.
It really did kind of set the mood, didn't it, for a great sort of victory, hopefully, on Tuesday, and really interesting to hear Gareth's words there.
Yeah, I felt very much on Tuesday. What I really hoped was that it wasn't another disappointing performance in the way that the Sheffield Wednesday and the Birmingham City game were. And it definitely wasn't that at all. We did play really well. It was a really, competitive game. It was, considering that it was 2 teams at the wrong end of the championship table, it was an absolutely engrossing, really entertaining game. And it was just such a sucker punch at the end. Really felt for Ryan Alsop in particular, wearing the Mardi Gras kit on Mardi Gras Day, to concede we literally with seconds to go, the free kick coming off the post, and then Derby managing to score the the winner, Wisdom putting it in the net. Yeah, just as you can probably hear, I still haven't quite got over it really.
But a great night for Anis, as we heard, and also Uche as well, who spoke to Alicia, who was on the show last week after the game.
So 3 big points on the road today, Uche. How much does that mean to the team?
It's massive. I'm not gonna lie. I came here when I was at Watford, I think 2013, and I wasn't on the bench. I remember how it made me feel, and I think I went out on loan 2014, I think, and I remember how I felt, because I was just like, they didn't think I was good enough to play at this level. So when I came to this team, I'm like, I remember, because I was sat in the stand there, So like I used that as some sort of like momentum to take into the game. That was just my thing, you know. So yeah, but listen, it's about the team, innit? But that's just something me personally I took into the game.
Yeah, and people might have written us off when we went 2-0 down. Did you guys always believe that you could get the win?
Yeah, of course. Listen, I'm not gonna lie, man. I hate losing, and so does the team, and everyone's been burning just to win a game, and it's been tough. I can't lie. You know, I care so much, and it hurts me to lose. So listen, it's a great win. But we've got work to do, and I'm excited. You know, like I said, we're gonna write a story. You know, that's what we're gonna do. So, and I'm happy for the players as well, because I'm with them. And they work hard and they're honest, and this is the most honest group of boys I've ever played with. So listen, it's a win, and you know we need to kick on now.
And you had a great game personally, and you played a big part in winning that penalty. Did you not want to take it?
Listen, I'm a striker. I want to score goals. I'm going to get my goals this season. I have no doubt. But listen, JJ is probably one of the best penalty takers in the Football League. So I've got to respect that, you know. So of course I want to score goals, but he's a penalty taker. Listen, it's an assist for me. That's the way I look at it. You know, I've set up one. So listen, my goals will come. You know, I can do everything. So I believe.
Yeah. And after such a strong performance, how are you feeling about Tuesday night and Derby County?
Yeah, like I said, obviously games are coming thick and fast. It's on to Tuesday now. But yeah, listen, I'm looking forward to it. And listen, to come back from 2-0 down to win 3-2, listen, if that's not a catalyst, then I don't know what it is. So even in the manner which we did, you know, Anis is a special player. You know, that goal before the second half, you know, great finish, great goal, and I see it. You know, he's gonna, you know, for me, you know, I'm on him all the time. He's one of my best mates there, and you know, he got us back in the game, and his all-round performance is very good. So you know, listen, it's not only Anis. You know, we can talk about the whole team, but yeah, that goal for the first half finish gave us that belief.
Great to hear from Uche. Shortly afterwards, the helicopter took off successfully, and he was taken to.
He's very honest, is Uche, isn't he?
Yes, no, he doesn't like to lie. Tom joins us as well, who, as we heard, spoke to Dave Wheeler about sort of mental health in football. Good evening, sir.
Hiya, thanks for having me on.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you very much. So, what did you see in the team in that game at Huddersfield, which really thought, they've turned a bit of a corner here?
Oh, I think he's gone with a whole new setup, really, and for the first time able to have that spine of Stewart and Tafazoli. Knight moved forward into the holding midfield role. With David Wheeler and Anis Mehmeti behind Uche. I think Uche's really been the key. He allows us to play with one up front, and you know, we can really lead that line effectively, and just bodies bouncing off him, and you know, he wins more fouls than. In fact, there's only one player in the top 4 divisions who wins more fouls than him at the moment, and that's Jack Grealish. And I think people know how much he gets kicked about. So that's the kind of level he's at in terms of what he's winning for us. And, you know, his hold-up play is excellent. But actually runs, you know, he can carry the ball surprisingly well and surprisingly quickly for a big man. I think it's always slightly surprising when you see someone of that size kind of put the afterburners on. And, yeah, he's already won a couple of penalties. Obviously took one on Tuesday night as well. So yeah, he's been really key. You do have to wonder, had he been fit for, you know, most of, if not all the season, where would we be? We'd probably be a little higher than we are, I think. Then you've got Anis Mehmeti, he's just a revelation, isn't he? You know, comes in as this B-team signing, pretty much straight into the first team. In and out, but now he's really established himself. I'd say David Wheeler's probably the key player in it, though, apart from Uche, in that he can really shuttle between the lines of midfield. It's either a 4-1-4-1, or he can drop back and support Knight accordingly. But it'll get on the end of crosses as well, and he went close against Derby, scored against Cardiff, which was, that's the first time he tried that system. So now we've played at these last couple of games, the team looks a lot more balanced. I think we've got some identity back, and hopefully we can keep everyone fit and push on from here, despite the disappointment on Tuesday.
I think David Wheeler is a really interesting point in that I think he's one of those players who actually he's quite quiet in what he does, but actually he's vital to the team.
Yeah, I think he can go under the radar because he doesn't necessarily do the spectacular.
Yeah.
But he's an excellent header of the ball. A good passer as well. He won't always look for the Hollywood pass, but he'll make progressive passes and sensible passes. And yeah, he can be depended on to play pretty much anywhere. I mean, last season he was more of a winger. This season he's definitely become much more of a midfielder. But yeah, and he's that threat in the box as well.
I think you make a really interesting point with regards to Uche winning the free kicks, and I've always felt that Bayo doesn't get the free kicks that he deserved, and it seems that Uche actually does.
Yeah, although the interesting thing is he gives away about 5 fouls a game at the moment, which is, again, more than anyone in the top 4 divisions. But I think when he's winning as many as he is, he's winning almost as many. You benefit far more from that than you lose. But yeah, I agree about Bayo. I think he often gets unfairly penalised for his size and the assumption that if he's fouled, if a player's gone down, he must have fouled them. He's having a mobile target man like that makes such a difference. I mean, he's more than that as well. He's probably the most complete striker we've had under Ainsworth. I think one of those long-range efforts is going to fly in soon. Came close again on Tuesday. And yeah, I think he's just maybe feels he has a point to prove. Not because of anything he'd done wrong, but just having been out so long, having come in as one of the big signings of the summer. But yeah, really, really, really hope we can keep him fit, and we'll see where we can go. It's a huge ask, but he's going to be vital if we're to pull it off.
Yeah, I mean, with Uche, it was interesting to hear him say that actually he remembered being at Huddersfield when he was at Watford, and clearly had gone all the way up there. Like Gareth said, 4 hours on the coach, and then wasn't even in the squad. And so he clearly is somebody who feels that he's got points to prove to the other teams that he's played for, and I think that can only benefit us.
Yeah, I think so. And he said when he signed that his aim was to be playing in the Championship by 25, which he's done. Playing at Hearts in Scotland, that's not a bad level. But yeah, this is where he wanted to be, and he's showing he can do it. And I think the more he scores, I think he's only going to get better. I mean, he is only 25. That's not quite into his peak years yet. I just hope we can keep hold of him. I get slightly worried if he continues like this. 1 or 2 others might be having a sniff in the summer.
So it's fantastic to hear the thoughts of Tom there. Let's catch up with Gareth Ainsworth speaking to Matt after the Derby game.
Gareth, after a performance that strong, you must have been thinking you could get all 3 or maybe 1, so to take away none must be heartbreaking.
Listen, that is good enough for me. If we keep playing like that, we'll be absolutely fine. We were fantastic tonight. I cannot fault the boys at all. I can fault certain people tonight without a shadow of a doubt, but I'm not going into that because I keep going into this and it doesn't change. I am so proud of my boys. People know what I'm talking about, and I have got to just say, keep playing like that, boys. We'll be absolutely fine.
That's 2 superb performances in a row, and particularly from Uche Ikpeazu, who had to obviously get his own confidence back on track after the misfortune in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, he's some player, and he's going to be a tremendous asset to us. You know what? We'll be fine. We're playing like that, and we'll be fine. As long as I'm in charge of this club, that is good enough. And I'm so upset for the boys because they're gutted in there, but they don't need to be. Bring that again Saturday. Play for Wycombe Wanderers. Give me that. Good enough. Yeah, I think we deserved a second penalty, but it's tough to give a referee to give 2 penalties to the same team. But if it's happened, it's happened. Listen, I'm not going to get myself in trouble. My owner is 100% behind me when he sees my boys fighting like that. This whole club is just fighting and scrapping to stay in this Championship, and we keep playing like that, we'll do it.
Tom, that must have been so encouraging to see such a great performance against Derby as well, even if the result wasn't quite what we were after.
Yeah, I think you can look at Derby's league position, but they're one of the form teams. So yeah, a performance like that is promising. I'm not going to get in trouble by mentioning the decisions, but I don't want to talk about them because I've gone through that already, and it just makes it even harder to take, I think. But yeah, I think as long as Gareth will keep them motivated, emphasise the importance of the performance, and take that into Saturday, I think that's the important thing. Yeah, there's plenty to take from it. I know you need results at this stage, but there wasn't a lot more we could have done, frankly.
And so disappointing to lose in stoppage time as well. I mean, to get a winner in stoppage time is very exciting, but obviously equally as disappointing to lose in that way as well.
Oh, yeah, it's just a sucker punch. It was like the first day against Rotherham, although probably worse than that, because of how well we played. And, I mean, even a point would have been disappointing. But, yeah, hopefully we can just take from the 92 minutes before that and, try and get that out of our system. I mean, we turned around from getting battered at Brentford to winning at Huddersfield within the space of a few games. I think, we've come back from worse than a last-minute winner against us. So, yeah.
I think the important thing is that actually we put in a really good performance against Millwall. It will be very, very depressing to see another performance a bit like the Sheffield Wednesday game. So I really hope that actually we come out and perform well.
Yeah, I don't see any reason why we wouldn't. And I mean, Millwall are another form team. They're probably not going to make the playoffs, but they're really motoring at the moment and up into the top half. Probably be a tougher game than it was when we faced them at Adams Park. But we're also playing better than we were that day. We've got pretty much everyone fit to choose from. What we lacked in that game was anything to match up to their aerial presence with Matt Smith, who's probably one of the best headers of the ball in this division. We've got Tafazoli now, so hopefully, touch wood, we're not put under so much pressure by him if he does start. But yeah, I don't think we'll revert to the kind of performance we saw against Wednesday. I think, as I said, we've got a system that's working now. The team looks balanced. There's probably going to be one or two changes. We've got games. I think we've got 2 games a week until mid-April, so you're going to have the odd change. But yeah, I think we've got a good foundation to work with now, and pick ourselves up and hopefully have the result to match the performance as well.
So definitely, hopefully, those last 2 performances, real reason for optimism going forward. Tom, thanks a lot for your time.
No problem, thanks for having me.
Pleasure to speak with Tom, and hopefully he'll be appearing on future shows here at Wycombe Sound. Still to come, you can hear from Chairman Rob Couhig and Mark West on the way next.
Love music, love talk, love Wycombe Sound.
Second part of the Wycombe Wanderers Show. Thank you very much indeed for listening. Still to come, we'll hear from Chairman Rob Couhig speaking on the Ringing the Blues podcast with Phil after that statement which he made ahead of the Huddersfield win. But if you're a regular listener to the show, you'll know that we often like to speak to former players, and I'm very pleased to say we can speak to an actual local hero and huge goal scorer from the 80s and 90s. Mark West is with us this evening. Hello, sir.
Hey, how you doing?
Very good, thank you. Thank you so much for speaking to us and for your time. It's great to have you on. You must be very sort of pleased with the way that the team are doing at the moment, having contributed so well yourself, laying the foundations, if you like.
Yeah, well, to see them to get to the Championship was unbelievable. They've been climbing up the leagues, and they've done ever so well to get there. Obviously, I was just in the conference, and I was with them when they got into the old Division 3 and whatever. But to actually get into the Championship has been a great achievement.
And during your time at the club, could you have imagined that they'd be in the second tier of English football?
No, not when I started. I think it was just in the Isthmian League, Premier League when I started. I don't think anybody would have said, that's a long time ago now. What's that? Nearly 40 years ago when I started. To say that Wycombe would be in the Championship would be, a pretty unbelievable thing. But, we slowly got a couple of promotions, and obviously Martin took it over, and obviously now Gareth's done a great job to get him into the Championship.
It must have felt so special, though, during the time you were there. And as you say, when you sort of started as well, being a non-league club and, you're local, being local yourself as well, born in Stoke-on-Church, and, playing through the schools team as well, and getting to play for your hometown club must be especially sort of pleasing.
Yeah, obviously it started with the Wycombe Schoolboys, the district, under 15s. And then obviously I was at West Ham for a little while, and then come back and started playing for Wycombe when I was 18. Always had good crowds. It was a bit different playing at Lokes Park with on the slope. And then obviously it just became a little bit more professional. We started winning games, and we got a promotion into the conference. And obviously, then we got the move to the new ground, and that's when things sort of kicked off. And really being one of the local lads, there weren't many of us. It started when I first joined the club. Nearly everybody was from around Wycombe and Oxford area, and then it slowly changed, and everybody started coming from London, from the Midlands, and from farther afield. And I was probably the last local lad left when we moved to the new ground. So it was really nice.
Well, for those of us who don't actually, who weren't lucky enough to go to Lokes Park, and Colin was one who was lucky enough to go, just tell us what the difference was between Lokes Park and then going to Adams Park.
Well, Lokes Park had a slope. I'm not sure how big it was, but from side to side, it must have been about 30 foot from one side to the other, from the top to the bottom. So, the pitch was always nice, but it was a bit different playing on a massive slope and then going to play on a carpet, which all of a sudden we went from probably having 800 or 900 to 2,500 people every week. So it was lovely.
And did you use the slope to your advantage? Was that something that actually benefited the home team, or was it a pain to play on really for both sides?
I think it was just a pain for both teams, really. I don't think it really mattered which way you were kicking, or, we probably learned how to take a corner and play up the top of the hill a little bit more. But, I don't think it was a great advantage. I think people might have said it was, but I don't think it was. But it was much nicer when obviously we moved to the new ground at Adams Park, and the pitch was flat, and like I say, we got another 2,000 people come to start watching. And obviously then, we done really well and got to Wembley and things like that. And, it was great for the town.
It must have been such a sort of proud feeling for you to have scored so many goals that you had, and on that sort of club's roll of honour, if you like. I think third, in fact, with your 251 goals in total. Yeah,
no, I was quite lucky. I played in some good sides with a lot of good players, and scored quite a few goals. I'm not sure I was top scorer for a few years, but when you play with good players, it does help. They put good crosses in and make good chances for you. And, obviously I scored the first goal at Adams Park as well against Nottingham Forest. I think that was, how long was that, 30 years ago? It's a long time ago now. So, it was really pleasing.
Does it feel like a long time ago? Does it feel like only yesterday?
I think when you look in the mirror, it seems a long time ago. So, it doesn't seem that long ago, actually. It seems funny. When you actually watch it on the telly now and you see Wycombe playing and you see the ground and everything, I think it seems like yesterday that you were playing. But like I say, it was like 30 years ago when we got there, and it just seems to have gone so fast.
Are there particular goals and games that stand out? Obviously, the FA Trophy final winner must have been pretty special.
Yeah, no, to get to Wembley for the first time and scored a winning goal in the final. I think it was about 35,000 people there. The whole town seemed to have, walking around Wycombe. Everybody was talking about it, and it was just a great achievement and that was one of the first achievements for the club, really. And I don't think they've looked back for the last 30 years, really. They just moved on, taken great steps, and they just keep improving, which is, like I say, it's a pretty unbelievable thing that they've done to get into the Championship now.
And did you notice at the time the change, if you like, from playing teams like Kettering, and then all of a sudden you're, in the much higher, well, not what must have felt like a much higher level?
Yeah, I think it is a bit weird. You go into places and playing in front of 200 or 300 people, then all of a sudden you go into grounds and there's 4,000 or 5,000 people. At home, all of a sudden the crowds, it just gets a lot more professional. Training becomes harder, you have to be fitter. The players they bring in are better, and like I said, everybody has to move on, and your time comes when it's your turn to be taken by somebody else. But these things happen, and I think it just got more and more professional as the years went on, really.
And it must have been such an interesting time when players were going to that sort of full-time level as well and getting full-time contracts.
Yeah, obviously when they all went full-time and stuff. And then obviously players are doing well, and Steve Guppy went to, where did he go to? He went to Leicester, and Keith Scott got on move to Swindon. And, you see players start moving and playing, even higher than when Wycombe were, which, that's a good achievements for those sort of players as well.
And it must have felt so good, for yourself at the time, people singing your name behind the goal and stuff. And as I say, that the goal, records that you set, and you must have been so proud of what you achieved during those years.
Yeah, like when you're playing, you take it for granted, I think, a little bit. You just turn up every week and you play in front of a few people. And, at the time, things were going well for me. I was just scoring goals, and, people like people that when you're doing well, people sort of always give you a little pat on the back. But, there were times when I missed a few, and, people call you a few names, but you have to take that sometimes. But yeah, most of the time it was quite nice because, like I say, when you're playing with good players and they keep creating opportunities for you, and you keep getting on the end of it, whether it's a 2-yarder or a 20-yarder or a penalty, it's always lovely to score a goal. And I think most people remember goal scorers rather than midfielders and stuff. So, yeah, I was lucky enough to be a goal scorer, and I scored quite a few.
Mark, when they're singing your name, are you aware of that? As we heard from David Weeder a few weeks ago, where he was very much saying that actually when you're playing a match, you're in the zone, and unless maybe you've scored a goal, you don't necessarily notice the crowd. So when they're all chanting and singing your songs, do you have a little grin on your face, or are you really not noticing?
Yeah, I think you do. It's always nice, if you scored a goal and all of a sudden the crowd starts singing your name, or even when you come out to warm up, and they start singing your name as you come out. It's lovely. That's what you want to hear. You want people to be cheering for you. And I think, yeah, you are in the zone when you're playing. You hear the odd thing, but when they start singing about you and stuff like that, it is lovely.
And what's it like playing under the different managers? Obviously, there were a couple during your time there.
I had a few. I'm not sure that was me or them. I think they all brought their own different things to the club. I think we had started off with Paul Bence and Alan Gain. They started with a lot of local lads, and then Jim Kelman come in and brought a lot of. He was the one who started bringing players in from further afield. And then obviously when Martin took over, he changed it and it became a lot more professional. I think he gave the players a lot more belief in how, we were sort of a top half of the conference when Martin took over. And I think he brought in a few good players just to cement what we were doing, really. And I think that's what it was that actually got us promoted. But each manager brings their own little bit. And, to manage at Wycombe, you've got to be a good manager anyway. So you just take a little bit from each one of them, and you just keep trying to learn as you're going on.
And what happened to you after your time at the club? Because you went on to play for Slough and also for Tame as well.
Yeah, left Wycombe and went to Slough. I didn't really want to be doing too much travelling after I finished. I was about 29 by the time I left Wycombe. So went to Slough. We got into the conference, and that was good there. Had 4 good years at Slough. Went to Farnborough. To be fair, I scored a few goals at Slough as well. So that was always nice. And Farnborough just for a year at Farnborough, and then I've ended up at Tame. That's where I'm managing now. I've been managing there for the last 12 years. So keeps me busy.
It must be so fantastic to still be involved in the game as well. I remember, it's always fascinating to hear, where former players are today. And I remember, as I say, years ago, reading that you're the manager at Tame, and great to hear that you're still doing that now.
Yeah, I think the thing is, I don't think unless you've been in a football changing room, I don't think you understand the buzz. And actually being in a changing room, the banter, it's just so nice. You make a lot of friends in there, and we all keep in touch with each other, and and actually still being able to do it now, go and train a couple of times a week, just being with the lads. I think it helps to keep you. I don't know about feeling young, but it does help, and I've really enjoyed my time being a manager as well.
And how's the last 12 months been for you under the sort of the lockdown and the pandemic?
Very difficult, because obviously we did start in the summer, and the season sort of started, and we've not played since November now. So I think we're waiting to hear whether or not we're going to be starting. I can't see it myself. I think we've still got about 30 league games to play. So even if we started now, I wouldn't think we'd be starting playing until the middle of March. So you can't play 30 games in that sort of time. So for me, I think they should just call it off and start. But it's been quite difficult. It's sort of been stop-start for a little while. So it will be nice, hopefully, in the summer, be able to start again and look forward to next season.
It's great to hear that you're still, as you say, involved in the game, and also the link with Wycombe Wanderers as well, as you have so many happy memories there. Brilliant for JDT and Alan, who instrumental in the Ex-Players Association. That must be something that you're really pleased to be involved with as well.
Yeah, it's lovely. We have a dinner every year. We didn't have one last year, and everybody goes along. See a lot of old friends and everything, which is really nice. We managed to have a beer, but hopefully we might be able to have the dinner this year. But I think Wycombe's quite a family club. I think that's the thing. I don't think there'd be any other club, in football that does what Wycombe does with the Ex-Players Association. I think they do a great job, the people who run it. It's unbelievable what they do. And I think, like I say, I think Gareth's doing a great job with what he's doing as well. Whether or not they can stay up, I think it's a long shot. Hopefully they can do that. Whatever happens, they've done really well anyway.
Oh, it's been great to speak to you. Thank you so much for your time, and also brilliant to, as a youngster, to watch you. And I'm sure many other fans will have enjoyed watching you play for the club and all the goals that you scored as well.
Yeah, nice one. Thank you very much for having me on the show. Nice one.
Pleasure. Thank you so much for your time. Mark West speaking to us here at Wycombe Sound.
Love music, love talk, love Wycombe Sound.
It's the final part of the Wycombe Wanderers Show, or the third half, as we like to call it. Extra time, as it can be known as well. Brilliant to speak to Mark West. There is something a bit special, isn't it, about getting to speak to players who you've seen play. It's obviously fantastic to hear, stories of players from other generations as well, but I think there's something a bit special about, if you'd have told me that, in 30 years you'll get to speak to Mark West, I'll be like, I don't see how.
I think, you should take this even further, actually, because it's getting to speak to players who you've sung their songs. That's pretty special, really.
No, absolutely. Very, very lucky. Keep listening out for more. Next week we have Matt Crossley on. From a similar era, and we're also speaking to former manager Brian Lee soon as well, so make sure you listen out for that.
Now, it was very interesting what Mark was saying about Tame and the season, because we're just getting a bit of breaking news in that the National League North and South, their season has been declared null and void this evening. Following voting from the clubs, the season has ended. There will be no promotion, no relegation to or from the National League North and South. Now, clearly, clubs like Tame are below that, but I would think that because such a high-profile non-league league has decided that the other leagues will probably just fall into line, and I would assume that actually we will be hearing that the Southern Isthmian leagues, etc., will also, the Hellenic League, I would imagine, will also be postponing their seasons, or rather cancelling their seasons, saying that they're null and void, and basically that they're going to start again in August, which was kind of what Mark was saying that he was expecting as well.
Yeah, it is something that you could kind of sort of see coming and probably see with the best outcome, but interesting that it should happen around now. Yeah,
absolutely. And and also again for Wycombe ladies, we've heard the same from them that that it's been so stop-start their season, and it hasn't even really got going yet. And I would imagine that probably the same thing will happen with them as well.
No, definitely. So to move on, we had a little earlier on from our various chats that Rob Couhig made a statement to season ticket holders, which I guess was very interesting on a number of levels.
Yeah, definitely. He was very much blaming himself partly for the expectations that he feels that he hadn't necessarily clearly communicated to Gareth, to the management team, and to the players at the beginning of the season.
So, Phil on the Ringing the Blues podcast spoke to Rob to find out a bit more.
Missy and I were talking. It's a great analogy for what we hope for the season. We dug ourselves a hell of a hole after the first 7 games, but if you come back, that's all that matters.
Right, Rob, so this statement that came out the other day, you can almost claim an assist for this victory, can't you? Because it's been a big change in the recent run of form.
I don't know about all that. I'm not a believer in excuses. I don't excuse myself when I make a mistake. I take responsibility. I have a great working relationship with Gareth and Davo and Pete and Andrew And I just thought the fans, particularly those people who have put up their money, ought to know what our position was. And so, it hopefully it helped a little bit. But I don't really believe much in all of that. I think that what wins a match is how the players play. Having some 70-year-old guy exonerate them or excoriate them doesn't make much difference. What matters is how they play, and they played fantastic.
Now, Rob, on that statement, you said that you'd come to the realisation that you had failed the club by not forcefully articulating your expectations for the season. I mean, you've always been fairly optimistic with me and the other fans by saying that, you expect Wycombe to stay up in the Championship. Do you think that we perhaps maybe, with our sort of British cynicism, just thought, oh, that's just an optimist? But, talk to me about what's made you make that statement. Why do you think you failed the club in that way?
Well, I think I fell into the same habit a lot of our fans fell into, which is getting sort of impressed with ourselves that, my gosh, look at us. We're in the Championship. I was reminded as a young lawyer when I had a huge case against a guy who had been practicing law 40 years. And there was a temptation on my part to talk about, oh, my gosh, I'm going against Mr. Smith, who's been doing it forever and has a great reputation. And my client told me he wasn't paying me for anything other than my performance. He didn't care who I was going against. I better win the case. And I realized I have an obligation to this club, to these players, to Gareth, to Dabo, the whole staff, to make sure they understand we're in this thing to produce real results. So that led to a conversations I had with Andrew, with Pete, Dabo, and Gareth all individually and then combined. And I just felt like it was as good a time as any to make sure everybody knows you can't be afraid of success. And you can't be afraid of setting the bar high and going for it. It's our time.
Obviously, your relationship with Gareth and Dobbo and the players and everyone, that can be quite a private thing. But, I mean, what was the nature of those? Was it a heated conversation, or was it a sort of a sit-down, quite rational chat?
Well, for one thing, unlike every other conversation I've ever had of similar nature, I wasn't able to sit in an office or on a couch and look them in the eye. You're doing it over Zoom. It was very rational. There was no raising of voices or anything like that. Everybody's kind of gotten to know me a little bit. They've gotten to know me better over the past month. And again, I don't want to make the excuse of I'm 4,500 miles away. But in their defense, I think it's been hard for them to judge me because you get it on a conversation or two, not on a everyday stuff. Last year, Phil, I used to have coffee with Gareth once, twice, 3 times a week when I was there 1 week a month. I've been there exactly once since I bought the club. So it's hard. And communication means a lot. And I'm in the communication business and my other trade. And I just felt like it was important for me to talk to these guys and communicate.
Since you and Pete and Mitzi have been involved in the club, it's been a tremendous success in terms of the promotion into the Championship. But you often really learn about people when things are going against you in terms of results, and this is your first sort of real sticky spell of results. A lot of Wycombe fans expected it to be difficult, though, in the Championship, but I sense there's a cultural difference between you and a lot of British and English and Wycombe fans in the fact that you are saying that you fully expect Wycombe to stay in the Championship. You really mean it, don't you?
I do. Why wouldn't we? I mean, if we didn't expect to stay, why did we bother to go up? There are some things, Phil, I probably should have done earlier. We went through a decision-making process about the type of squad we were going to field, and we were comfortable with the squad. But if you notice, we've incrementally changed the squad out, which was fair. And look, I don't think the cultural difference is necessarily British versus American. There are plenty of people in America who will tell you I am a resolute, realistic optimist in anything I attempt to do. That doesn't mean I win every time, but it means there's going to be a battle for me to win, and I ain't going down easy anytime.
And in that statement as well, you underlined your sort of commitment to Gareth and Dobbo and said that, in terms of job security, They're more secure than any other managers in professional football. If Wycombe make a big fight of it, but they do end up in League One, I'm guessing that stays the same?
Yes. Yeah. Look, one of the things I wanted to communicate to them is they don't have to worry about what about this, what about that. We are a team. The way I manage is I have Andrew and Pete working with them and the players and so recruiting the players and the like. I'm going to evaluate all of us, but I am totally satisfied with the team we have put together. If nobody screws up in a way, and I'm not talking wins and losses, I'm talking about something that would be totally unforeseen, we're going to be here next year in the championship. If something untoward happens and we're in League One, it's going to be the same group of us making sure we come right back up to the championship.
And I was really taken with your last sentence of that statement before today's game. We have 19 games left. We have to cover a bit of ground. It will be done. Hang on and believe. It's going to be fun. Well, it was almost prophetic because today was a lot of fun, wasn't it?
Well, certainly the second half was more fun than the first, but yes. But even in the first half, and again, I don't claim expertise on team play and the like, but to me, the team looked like it was having fun. It was playing aggressively. It was going for it. And we easily could have scored in that first half. And so, yeah, it's going to be fun. It's not going to be easy. But, the great John F. Kennedy statement, why man goes to the moon? Not because it's easy, but because it's hard. Those things that you do that are hard, that you accomplish, those are the things that you remember when it's all over. Not that you went out and did what everybody expected you to do.
And the other thing was about the players as well. You said the players need to perform at the level expected of a Championship League player and, to have a successful career. You say you want everyone in the squad to stay, but the performance and the results matter, no excuses. I mean, that is very squarely saying to the players, look, if you want to stay in the Championship, you want to stay at Wycombe Wanderers, it's down to you. You're giving them their own responsibility for their destiny?
Absolutely. Look, I want them all. I love our players. We have a tremendous group of players. And the new guys that have come in have fit into the culture well. But they're all being paid as professionals in the championship. If they wanted to earn wages commensurate with League One, they could have played there. But they don't need that. They can be here. They all have the talent. And look, tough times are ahead. But we're going to play through it, and we're going to be fighting, and we're going to be, at the end of the day, shocking people one more time.
Now, the other interesting thing, you've told the media team, no more Little Wycombe, no more sort of touristing around the Championship. That's fine. They're the club's employees. You're the chairman. A lot of the Wycombe fans have been a bit like, well, we still want to kind of do that and enjoy our time in the Championship regardless of the results. Do you understand where they're coming from? Maybe the Wycombe fans that saw Wycombe lose to the Metropolitan Police in the 80s and get knocked out of the club.
Yeah, but I'm so sick of hearing that, Bill. I didn't know Wycombe was at the time. I keep going back to that day, and I don't know if you recall it, when we were in that forum and somebody asked me where I expected to be, and I said the Championship, and there were people who didn't guffaw. They were like, I don't know if we want to do that, almost afraid. I don't have time for that. I came to do something that had not been done before, to run a team on a financially stable basis and make progress and play in the Championship. That's what we're going to do.
And Rob, so your rallying call to the fans then, you want them to say, look, we're not Little Wycombe anymore. We're here to make a go of this.
Yeah, but look, they're fans. They pay their money. They take their chances, and they can say whatever they want. But if they want to support this team, they have to start taking pride in authorship of a championship team. They can't look around because that permeates the atmosphere. That's why I asked the media team, let's get past it. Let's recognize ourselves. We were the only team going around talking like that. I looked around at what other media people do. Nobody else was saying, "Ooh, wow, we're going to be at such and such stadium. Isn't that cool?" No, we're going to be there, and goddamn it, they ought to be a little nervous about us.
And in terms of the contract extensions that have been handed out to Wycombe players as well, I'm guessing that they're structured regardless of regarding what league Wycombe will be in next season. If the Great Escape happens, then fantastic. If not, then they'll be on. Their contracts will reflect what division Wycombe are in next season.
Every contract is unique. And all I can say about that is Pete and Andrew and I have set up a system where we're able to compete financially, whatever league we're in.
Really, really interesting comments from Rob there. And it does give confidence, I suppose, I think, going forward as well.
Yes, I mean, a really, really fascinating, sort of wide-ranging interview. And just, I think sort of coming out of it, you just think he clearly really, really does want us to stay in the Championship. I completely understand what he's saying about the whole, we've possibly made too much of the fact that, you know, we've been to the City Ground, we've been to Hillsborough, and we've been saying, oh, wow. But I think at the same time, he has to appreciate actually that, you know, exactly as Mark West was saying, just where Wycombe have come from and the fact that there are fans of a certain age who, you know, well remember the Isthmian League days.
Of course.
And so it is amazing to us that we are in, you know, that we are playing these teams, you know, that we're going to the City Ground because, goodness me, whilst we were in the Isthmian League, Nottingham Forest were winning the European Cup twice. And so that, you know, that is why it's quite mind-blowing to Chairboy's fans. But at the same time, yeah, okay, fair enough. You know, we are in the Championship on merit. These aren't FA Cup games that we're playing. We haven't got a lucky draw. So, you know, yeah, I completely understand the point he makes.
So it does seem such a jump, doesn't it? As I mentioned to Mark about playing, you know, teams like Kettering and Northwich Victoria and Fisher Athletic and, you know, all that, and now we're playing, as you say, Nottingham Forest and Sheffield Wednesday. And
exactly. I mean, if I was speaking to Rob, I think I would say to him, knowing that he's got a baseball background, knowing that he was in charge of the New Orleans Zephyrs, I think they were called, which is like a minor league baseball team in America. It would be a little bit like them, and baseball doesn't have an equivalent competition to the FA Cup, but if they did, it would be like them drawing the New York Yankees and going to play in Yankee Stadium, or going to, say, Fenway Park, or going to Wrigley Field, some of the real sort of like iconic ball stadiums in America. That sort of is the equivalent thing. But as I say, yes, fair enough, you know, and maybe we should, or he should have considered that sort of like, first of all, you know, back in September, and said to the whole club, you know, look, we're not going to make too much of the fact that, you know, wow, isn't it amazing that we're in the Championship? Let's just actually very much be, well, hey, you know, yeah, we're here on merit. I really liked what he said about when he was a lawyer and taking on the guy who'd like got 40 years experience.
Definitely.
And, you know, and again, you know, your client would not be very pleased if you were in the courtroom just saying, wow, you know, goodness me, I'm going up against this lawyer of 40 years. You know, if he's defending you, you know, or whatever, you would just want him to do his job. So fair enough, you know, completely get where he's coming from.
So overall, how would you assess your optimism after the last two performances heading into these next sort of run of games? Because as mentioned, February remains still quite important.
It does. It really does. The fact that Millwall have won their last 3 games, it's going to be tough. But, you know, every game really here on in is going to be tough. They're currently 11th with 41 points. However, you know, clearly our performances over, particularly the last 2 games, you know, Huddersfield was an absolute wonderful result, and the Derby performance was really, really good, and really we deserved definitely a point, if not all 3, and the fact we didn't get any was just heartbreaking. But yeah, I think we can go into the Millwall game with a lot of optimism.
Big thank you very much to everyone for contributing this week. We're back at the same time next week here at Wycombe Sound.